I was gonna say, I've been using the rice shampoo, but it's bars. It looks like bars of soap, but they're cute bars of soap. But anyways, you use this soap instead of getting all these plastic bottles, and it's more natural. And now that I've been using it for a while, I really, really like it. I really can tell, like, your hair is different without all the coating of all the chemicals and stuff. Now I'm so freaked about taking a nice bath, like, a detox bath with the Epsom salts and stuff. And now I keep seeing so much stuff about the poisons in the water. When I go on TikTok now, it's just outrage after outrage after outrage of everything. Everything I've been talking about, it's like people are all waking up to it and they're seeing the truth of the poisons and the problem with our food and the control, the education, everything. And yesterday I saw these women and they were out on the beach. They were doing some video. You didn't see them, you just saw their hands and feet and stuff. And they were showing the beach. Had all of this black stuff all over it. It looked like kind of like piles of dirty sand, and then it had like black looking like strings everywhere, the same stuff everybody keeps showing. I mean, it's in everything. The lady found it when she dissolved her vitamins. It was in there. I mean, that stuff they are definitely putting in us all. However it's getting in there, it's obviously falling out of the sky. So these women were showing it, and one of them had a little magnet in her purse. So she started going and seeing if it would attach to the magnet, this black stuff that was all over the beach. And of course it did. It went on there. And the creepy thing is once it went on there, it became its own. It started like having a mind of its own. It started growing. It started growing this fuzz. It started multiplying really fast. It was creepy as shit. Like, she got so freaked out. Some of it even got on her finger and she dropped the thing. And it looked like she'd grown a little mustache on her finger. And so she wouldn't even pick the thing back up. And it just was laying there on the sand, and they were videoing it. And it was just, it was like an alien form was going all over this thing. Like a pod person just went on there, took it over. And that's what they're doing inside of us. We're fighting against these poisons, And what drives me crazy is how many of these people, like one of the ladies was talking about, well, they must be doing it with the stuff they're spraying on us. And the other lady kept being like snotty about, well, I hope all you people that are happy. I hope you are happy you have this in you. It's like, dude, you're sitting here looking at it. It's in the environment. We all have it in us. It's like, what is wrong with people with this arrogance? They get so focused. See, this is what I'm talking about with reality and how you focus your energy. And they get so focused, they can't see what's right in front of them. I mean, to sit here and think, while you're looking at it on the beach, the only people who have got a problem with it are the ones that had it directly put in. But we all have had it directly put in. It's mental. Like, how long have they even been putting this into these? Because we've all had them. We've all had these. Only now is all the people starting to go like, hey, I'm not taking any more. Nope, no thank you. Now we're starting to realize. I've seen so many videos now where people are talking about, the FDA and stuff, and how the whole game of pulling stuff off the shelf. Like right now, I guess they're pulling a whole bunch of stuff off the shelf. Like, oh gosh, we're so concerned. There could be a problem with this. There could be a problem with that. We're going to take it off the shelf. We're not going to sell it to you guys. We're really concerned. We're taking care of you. But in total denial of how many people are injured and dying from that. And the amount coming out and speaking, the numbers are astronomical. It's crazy how many people are having issues with those, the direct inoculation of the chemicals right directly inside of us. But we all have them. We all have these chemicals we're fighting against. I don't know if you can see out there today. Total windy. My power already went out once. So this is Wednesday. This is a day where my whole life changed. It's like an anniversary for me. This is the day my firstborn daughter was born. So it changed my whole life this day. I think, you'd think I'd be able to, 39 years ago, I think. Pretty sure it was 39 years ago. I don't know. She's turning 39. She's not turning 40. Because her birthday would be 5/18/83. And then I got a 12/28/85, 5/13/94, but 11/2/92. Those are the... I have such a hard time with numbers anymore, so I gotta implant those in there. Everything I have to kind of attach memories to other things. That's why some things I can remember and some things I can't. It all depends on what it attaches to of other memories inside of my head. And some of them just don't attach to anything. It's just bye, bye thought. So, anyways, there are apparently, total darkness. And even yesterday, when they put the light, and they've done this a couple times this week, it's like they turn the lights on, but everything above us is just this white sky. There's no clouds, there's no atmosphere, there's nothing, just this white sky. It's so artificial. Everything here is so artificial. And I just know that, all these people who want to fight and stuff about the globe or the flat earth or whatever, it's just like you're fighting over something of a three-dimensional concept. It doesn't matter. You gotta let it go. And the people who are the most attached to the globe scenario are the most attached to the three-dimensional world that has been offered to us, what they've told us this world is. So they're still holding on tight to a belief system that is just a belief system. It's not real. It's not based on anything real. Any of these people who have gone out to try and prove, I had seen yesterday too, it was a flat earther video or something, and they were talking about when there was a group of global people that wanted to go, globe people who believe it's a globe. And there was a whole idea that they were interfering. Certain countries were trying to make their country bigger and better on the map. So these people went out and started measuring everything. And this isn't the first time I've seen where this has happened, where they went out and they started measuring, mapping everything out. And they started realizing, hey, nothing matches. This isn't right. This isn't matching what they're telling us. There's been several groups that have done that. It's not, if you go out and you actually do the experiments, or you go out and watch someone do them, you'll see this doesn't make sense. All of us who were questioning it in school, who were like, okay, well, if we're on a globe, how are we hanging upside down and we don't feel like we're upside down? Like, explain that one. How is it that the world is spinning so fast and we don't feel it? We're just standing here. We're not holding on, So it's all just a lie. It's all just, and it's so absurd, really. If you think about it, if you think about the globe being a lie and how absurd it is, the stuff that they try and sell us, because they'll sell us any absurd, it's part of their game. It's part of that they're better than us, because we're all just so stupid. We're just the sheep. We're the cattle. We're further down on the food chain as far as they're concerned. They believe that they're, better than us. And I think it has something to do with whatever, this blue blood and the different beings and the different DNA, who these people, whatever. There's nothing we can do about that. There's people who have been in charge for a long time and, they are evil geniuses. But, as long as people want to keep arguing, they're just holding on to this third dimensional concept. But the earth, as far as I'm concerned, the way I see it is it's blank space. It's just space and time, like a space in a honeycomb. one of those spaces in a honeycomb, and they project an image, and it's like a bubble. So it has a firmament, it has an outside shell. And so they project this image of this reality, of this world. Like, who wouldn't go? I mean, people are sitting here talking about going into hologram worlds right now through these viewfinder things, you know? So why wouldn't you go into a holographic reality to experience? That's how real stuff is in this experience. That's why you have senses. It all works together so that you can go in and actually see, well, what would it be like? What would it be like to be by a waterfall? What would it be like to be by a running stream? What is a running stream? What is a tree? What are smells of nature? You know, like all of those things that come into us are all part of the experience, so that we can come in and experience. And we come in with our own stories, our own plays, you know, our own written story that we're going to, it's our scripts. We all come in with this so that we can learn from the experience that we're here to participate in. And so all of these, so the way I see it is, so it's like a bubble. Like I see it kind of like an amphitheater. Like if you were at an amphitheater and they have this stage, and then they have like this thing that comes up and kind of goes over. So it's part of the projection of the sound towards the audience. And so if you think about this being kind of like an amphitheater, and we have beings all around us watching, just like a theater. Everybody's around watching. You know, you have people participating with you and trying to help you and encourage you, give you little signs and signals that they're there with you, give you some direction in your path. That's all happening around you. But as long as you keep thinking it doesn't exist for you. You've cut yourself off from that because you don't believe it exists. So you are only focused on what your senses tell you to exist, but your senses are part of the projection. It's part of the experience. So you have to go outside of that. You have a sixth sense. You need to get more attached to your sixth sense, the other sense beyond the senses that you have to experience the reality that we're in. And so if you think of it as like this amphitheater, they project these fantastical, way beyond, like there's a reason why these scientists and stuff try and create this virtual world and a holographic world. It's because that's where we're at. They're just trying to take over your consciousness to keep it in their world because they can harness your energy when they do it, because you feed energy into the reality. So if you think about this being, so it's a hologram that they are able to put onto this stage, then you are birthed into the reality. You have to go through another being to come into this reality. You have to go through a process to begin to go through your experience. So there's a process of growth to get to your experience. And it's part of your learning. It's part of your soul tribe. It's part of your team. It's part of your experience. So you're supposed to go through that. And most people go through hard childhoods because it is the challenges that are created so that you can really find out who you are. And some people can't go against the challenges. They just submit. They sacrifice self towards their challenge. They can't get over it. It's important to have resilience. It's important to have this, the drive to keep going, to know that this isn't real. Just like, you know, that drive that I had even when they were telling me that aliens didn't exist, which right now I guess on Fox News are really, I don't know, this is just a clip I saw, but apparently they're really focusing on, oh, we got aliens around us. Oh my God, we got aliens. They're coming for us. So they're really pushing towards their, their next big thing where we're going to be attacked by them again. But they're going to market it as somebody else because, they've got to come in to save us. So they got to create the scenario that they're going to save us from so that we give up more rights and we give up more freedom and we depend on them more. This is just such an abusive relationship, seriously. So we have this stage and this holographic image that we go into so that we can experience. We're birthed into it. And we are also a hologram. We are also a projection of our higher self. And I just feel like so many people just get so caught up in this, like the skin and tissue and stuff like that. Like I was saying yesterday when I hear these people like our blood and bones and stuff. But that is part of the image. But that is part of why I think that they can attack us with these frequencies and keep us sick because, just like what I was saying yesterday when a ghost, an energy wants to move something, but it doesn't have hands anymore. It's just trying to do it with its own energy, with its own will. And so if they interfere with our frequency, then see it makes it more troubling for us to be able to do anything. Like they can literally make us sick. And I think that they've been doing that for a long time. I bet you that's part of the reason why we all have microwaves in our home. Why we have so much electricity zapping us all day long is to keep us unsettled, to work in sync with the chemicals and the poisons that they give us to keep us sick because they profit off of it. It's part of their experience that they have in this reality. And so they've taken this beautiful reality, this beautiful hologram, and they've trying to make it all about them. This has to happen where we pull free, we break free from their system so that we can take this beautiful place and make it into a place where we can come in and experience what we want to experience, not what they want us to experience, but what we want to experience. And so we have to go through this, breaking away, breaking free from their system. We have to see how it had a stranglehold in our own lives and how we can break free and begin to live the life that we want to live instead of the one that they offer us. So it's all part of this same thing. Everything that's going on, it's for the betterment of humanity, but humanity also has to see and stop creating so much division. We have to see that we need to come together in order to create the world that we want. These people who want to just be arrogant, like they're the purebloods, they're better than other people, they're smarter and all of that stuff. It's so ridiculous. It's so much about this arrogance, this hierarchy, this I'm better than you. And that is part of the ego. That is part of what has to be broken down. So you can see why it's so important for this stuff to come to the surface to humble people so that they do have to break down the ego and see the truth. And so many, it just is going up, like the pendulum hasn't swung back. So they're just pulling it and pulling it and pulling it with more and more tension. But when it swings back, that tension, all the tension that they build, they've got to feel that as it goes swinging back the other way. That's why I've, since the beginning, have been trying to tell people, like, don't get caught up in that stuff. Don't get yourself dug in a hole. You gotta not be judgmental and be angry with people. You gotta be letting go of stuff and letting go of resentment and old pain. And, the more you can realize that the people who hurt you, either that they didn't understand what they were doing and you just got to give forgiveness because they're just trying to learn, and hopefully they learned by whatever they did to you that taught them. But it could not have. Like I've said before, it took me several relationships, like a lot of relationships that I had to go through to finally realize that wasn't the answer for me. That the relationships weren't going to make me into the person I wanted to be. A lot of the relationships brought out the worst in me. where I didn't even like myself in these relationships. So the relationships were there to teach me, how to begin to love myself. And it's a huge process to start to love yourself, to set boundaries, to set your standards, to know what you deserve. It's a lot to do, especially in a toxic world where they want to keep you down and small and sick. And I saw a thing yesterday too, or maybe last night. It was a guy, and he was talking about us being water, and about, I think he was talking about something, not alkaline water, but something electrically charged water or something with the electrical frequency and stuff, and how that heals us and how it makes us, reset or get better or whatever. But that is what is going to be about the med beds. What he was talking about, I feel certain that's what's going to be about the med beds. It's going to be this frequency that's going to be raised to get us into a place where we can heal ourselves. But see, if you are living in pain and suffering and just angry and mad, and life is just, shitty, and, you had a shitty dad, and you had a shitty spouse, and your kids don't like you, or whatever the things are that people just get stuck in chronic pain. There's a reason why they use so much pharmaceuticals. People don't know how to heal. They hold on to pain. Pain creates disease. And so when you release pain, it feels better. It lets it go, but because you're holding on to so much judgment, or holding on to bitterness. You got to keep those things alive in you to keep your anger towards someone else. You have to keep all of this toxicity in you. That's what you need to release. It doesn't have anything to do with the other person. It has to do with you. It has to do with you wanting to get to your best place. Because as long as you're going around angry and mad and bitter, then that is in you. You can't heal if you're holding on to that stuff. You're focusing your energy towards pain and suffering. So if you can release the pain and suffering and forgiveness, it's important to have forgiveness. And I know it's a huge challenge because people feel so hurt by other people. And, it's a big transition to start realizing that people aren't just selfish and mean. We're just all here learning from each other. And so we need to forgive. And remember, some of the people that give you the most painful lessons are truly your best friends outside of this reality. They just are really good at playing their part, They're really good actors. But most people don't remember, they don't remember. It's coming from their heart when they do this stuff. But they have to learn. So they get this opportunity to learn. What is that like to hurt somebody? We're all going through so much stuff, and it's all so unique and designed and structured just for our own healing, our own well-being. And so many people block their own growth because they don't want to feel the pain, but they don't realize they're holding that pain. They're keeping that pain alive as long as they keep their anger and resentment alive. And when you let go of those things, and it moves you into a place of peace and serenity, and forgiveness feels good. People don't realize how good forgiveness really feels, but it feels good to be able to, and it's not like, oh, I'm better than you. I would never do that. Not that kind. It's just a pure forgiveness of like, I understand, you did it because you didn't know. You're trying to learn about this stuff. And I'm glad that I could be there for you to help you to learn. And I know that this stuff is hard for people to understand. I have people who were very angry at me. I've got 2 daughters that are not even talking to me, and they're super angry at me, but I can't change that. That's something that they have to change. They're putting a lot of energy towards holding on to pain, and that is something that you have to release because it's only hurting them. It's not hurting me. They can be as angry as they want. Yeah, it's going to hurt my feelings. Yeah, it's going to make me sad. I gave birth to these people because I thought that was my family. I thought I was creating a family unit. I thought that I had these people. I felt like we were a team or something. And it has only become so clear to me more recently in this process of awakening is I gave birth to realities. I gave birth to other beings so that they could come in and go through their experience. I didn't give birth to my own little team. I gave birth to entire realities. And these people get to come in and go through their experience. And just because they don't want to talk to me and they are angry at me and holding on to pain, then, I feel bad. I wish that I could help everyone understand the process of releasing pain and how much better you feel. But, everybody's got to go through their own process. And just remember, if you have people that are holding on to resentment towards you, to just let it go. They will see the truth. You don't have to fix everything. We can't fix things for other people. We have to allow people this unfolding in their own experience so that they can learn from it. We don't just teach somebody. It's like that teacher-learner thing. The teacher's there when the learner's ready. But somebody has to want the information. Just like, anybody who comes in and listens to me, it's because they want that information. I can't go, I started doing this because when I started trying to tell people, there was so much like, hey, I don't want to hear your crazy stuff. So when I go here, then I'm not pushing it on somebody. That's what's so weird when these bully people come in, like I've called them on the phone and, hey, you're going to believe what I believe. It's like, why are you so triggered by my beliefs? Why are you so triggered by me that you're going to come in to my reality and start attacking me? Don't you see you're the problem? It's not me. I'm in my own space. I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing. I'm putting my stuff out there to bring others in who have a common understanding so that we all have we have a place that we can find each other. That's what building community is all about, is to speak your truth and put it out there so that you can find other people who have the same truth as you, that have similarities. But this is one thing too that I have found in your spiritual awakening, as you're growing, as you're expanding, and you think like you're in alignment with this person or alignment with that person. Don't get stressed out when you find yourself like, oh, I'm not in alignment with them anymore. Wait, I'm in alignment over here. Oh, wait, I'm over here now. That doesn't mean anything. It just is part of your path. It's part of that climbing that mountain. We can't all grab the same rocks. So we're all going to go through what we're supposed to go through. And, there's a lot of people who I have met that, I thought I would be in alignment with them because we were both spiritually motivated. But everybody's on their own journey. And, you'll find that you don't necessarily stay completely in alignment with somebody all the time. And I just let that stuff go. It's like, I think that I have a easier time of letting go of certain relationships or something just because it was programmed into me when I was a little kid. Because my dad was very opportunistic, he was very driven. I mean, he dropped out of high school and he ended up owning his own business that was very successful. He was very driven. Like, he wasn't all bad. He had some sickness in him, but he wasn't completely bad. I learned a lot of good things from this person. And, it developed a lot of things inside of me to be, more driven. I mean, my workaholic part came from him, no doubt about it. But there's other things that he taught me, not just all bad things. And, and that's what we also have to see. Just because someone is somebody who brings us pain in our life doesn't mean that's the only thing. But then there's other people that could be all they bring you. And that your lessons is to learn about boundaries and to know that you need to protect yourself. You don't just go because somebody's called your mom or your dad. If they're bringing you pain, then you have to set that boundary. Like, I can't be around you because you cause me to doubt myself or feel bad about myself or whatever it is. But that's when you're there to learn those kinds of lessons. But there was some other point I was going to make, something about, she's really snoozing. Man, she woke me up this morning and she was relentless. So I'm beginning to just feel like every day now I feel totally out of it and I feel kind of drugged or something. It's weird. Yesterday I couldn't stay awake. And then even when I went to bed, and then she's waking me up and I feel so, like I just need to sleep. I swear to God, it does feel like Rip Van Winkle or something. Or when in Sleeping Beauty, when they sprayed that village and put everybody to sleep for whatever, 100 years until the prince came and woke up, Sleeping Beauty. That's what it feels like sometimes, especially when it has this artificial sky and it just feels, but I feel really out of it. But there was something I was going to say about, I can't remember, the healing or experience or I just think that people really get caught up in the pain and suffering of it all. And that is only part of it. It's up to us to want more from it, to look at it in a different perspective, to open our perspective up, to broaden how we see things. And that is this evolution that is happening to people. And when people are just so caught up in arguing about what this is in three-dimensional, it doesn't matter because three-dimensional is just a playhouse. We've all gone into a playhouse and now we're all arguing about what the playhouse looks like and how big it is and all that stuff. When it doesn't matter. We're just in the playhouse so that we can understand in a three-dimensional existence what life is like, what we are like when we interact with other people. And nothing about this world is three-dimensional. That is why we have to go into 4D, 5D, all of this other stuff where people are talking about. It's a way that you look at life. It's your consciousness and how it perceives. And so it's up to, each person to start perceiving reality in a more broader perspective. And I think always keeping the basis of this world is supernatural. There's nothing real about this place. It's all supernatural. The only reason that you don't think supernatural exists is because you didn't believe in it. So you were only focused on what they were telling you. But when you start pulling free from that, you start seeing this whole world is supernatural. This whole world is just realities stacked upon realities so that we can go in as consciousness and experience. I mean, if we took away this world, not only would it just be empty space, but there would also be chaos because there's so much energy going through and having experiences. Like when I said, all of the stars, all of that movement was the same thing that they showed me when I went through that experience, and how all of the lines on the record and how it's all realities and stuff. Everything is right here. It's all right around us. And the only reason we don't see it is because we're focused on our own experience. When we open ourselves up to the world around us, then we start understanding and identifying that there's more going on that we didn't even realize. And another thing that's fascinating about this place, there's a whole bunch of people showing stuff about our history and how they're lying about the history, how it doesn't match the buildings and what they say happened at this time and all of the stuff that doesn't match. I've also seen where there was some hieroglyphics and some cave drawings. And in the cave drawings and stuff, people had like cell phones. They had like computers they were on. And then I saw an archaeologist talking about that in the drawings, this was a totally separate one, but in these drawings where it has these half animal, half human, that was just some fantasy that people were just like, oh, well, what if we did this or something? I believe those people were really there. They weren't just like, oh, no, they were acknowledging the different beings that they were interacting with. They're not all humanoid, They come from their reality and what is needed or necessary for their spacesuit in their reality. Just some beings have more control and are able to shift through realities and go through different ones. But normally those are, a higher. Like, we can't go from a lower density into a higher without doing the work, without, climbing the stairs. So we have to do the work to lift us, to move us into that higher vibration. But if you're a higher vibration, you can go down and go into lower vibration, even if it's a lot of work, a lot of challenge. Just like, when Patrick Swayze was trying to learn to move something without using his hands. That is the same thing of how a being is able to move through. It's your own power. It's your own acknowledgement of self. And I know it has something to do with how we're going to be able to start moving through time and space. I saw also, it was another thing with Patrick Swayze. Oh, I can't remember now. But the stuff I've seen of the history with the buildings and what the narrative says and what the actual buildings show is completely different. And it all has to do with their control of history. And they've been controlling it for a long time. And we're watching them in real time trying to create the history that they're going to be selling these people in the future. And they are doing it right now. That's part of this whole division to keep us, the boomers. Anyone who's older, there's a boomer, they have got no value to the younger people because they don't understand where history comes from. They think it is all just, sold to them because they've all gone through their indoctrination centers and they've been told a certain thing and they believe what they're told. So, there's just, there's so much about, having to just pull free, which is very uncomfortable, from everything that you've been told, and to start understanding this world in such a much broader perspective. And, you gotta start thinking of it on other levels outside of the three-dimensional. If you want to move out of three-dimensional thinking, you have to start looking at the world through other dimensional view, another view. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I think you know what I'm saying. You can't, just stand on the hill and keep seeing everything in three-dimensional. If you want to move into the other broader perspectives, you have to do the work. You have to do something to make the change. And, anyways, I just keep going and just keep trying to explain it when it's probably I've already made my point. So, I don't know. I'll probably come back and talk some more. I probably haven't talked enough yet today, but that stuff about reality and this world, and how we need to change our perspective, and how we need to start coming together and stop arguing about what somebody sees or thinks or feels about this world. It's part of everyone's process. So, I know this world is not a three-dimensional world like people keep arguing about. It's just as different than that. And anyways, I'll stop there. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.